All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something that might be quietly killing your business's profits, even when it looks like everything is going great from the outside. So let me ask you this. What if your biggest headache isn't finding new customers? What if the real problem is the money that's just vanishing every single day? We're all obsessed with getting more people in the door, right? But what if the floor is full of holes? Let me paint a picture for you. Let's imagine a restaurant owner. We'll call him the proprietor. He's doing everything right. The place is busy, he's spending a ton on ads to get new faces in, but at the end of every single night, when he cashes out, the numbers, they just don't add up. There's this mysterious gap, this invisible cost that's just eating him alive. And here's why that little gap is absolutely terrifying. For a typical restaurant, the net profit margin is razor thin. We're talking just 2 to 6%. That means there's basically no room for error. A tiny, consistent leak isn't just annoying, it's a full-blown crisis waiting to happen. It's an existential threat. And there's a name for this phenomenon. The source material calls it quiet erosion. And it's the perfect name for it, because it's not some big, dramatic disaster. Nope. It's the death by 1,000 cuts. It's that slow, steady drain from all the little things you barely even notice day to day. So what are these 1,000 cuts? Well, it's stuff like this. You've got kitchen mistakes, maybe a crate of supplies goes missing, your overhead is always creeping up. You know the drill. They all stack up, for sure. But you want to know the real killer? It's that last one. The customer who comes in, has a great time. You think, I got him. And then they just never, ever return. That misconnection is a massive part of this erosion. And this is where the whole thing gets so frustrating. So our proprietor, he goes out and hires a top-notch ad agency. And they're brilliant. They're driving tons of traffic, bringing in new people left and right. But it's like they've built this gorgeous, high-performance marketing engine, and they're trying to run it on top of a structural fault line. The ground is literally crumbling beneath them. All that new traffic comes in one door, and the profit just leaks right out the other. And you know what makes it even worse? This. The marketing world itself is built on uncertainty. Our sources call it the algorithmic hamster wheel. You know exactly what this is, right? It's that endless, exhausting chase where social media platforms change the rules on you overnight. You're just constantly scrambling to keep up, just to stay visible. It's a relentless cycle, and all that instability just pours more fuel on the fire of quiet erosion. So what's the result of all this? Well, the return on investment numbers look bad. And guess who gets the blame? The ad agency. But here's the thing. They did their job. They delivered the traffic. The problem was never the marketing. It was the leaky bucket they were trying to fill. It was the business's broken foundation. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a bit grim, I know. But now let's flip this whole thing on its head and talk about the solution. To do that, we have to meet a totally different kind of person. Forget the casual customer for a minute. Let's talk about the builder. And this slide right here shows you the night and day difference. Your casual diner, that's a transaction. It's a one-and-done deal. They see a cost, they pay it, they leave. But the builder, the builder is playing a completely different game. They don't see a cost, they see an investment. Every dollar is fuel for their own progression, for the legacy they're creating inside your brand's world. This isn't a transaction, it's a committed relationship. So how does this actually work? What makes a builder tick? Well, it all comes down to some really powerful psychological drivers, many of them perfected in the world of video games. First, they need a sense of progression, a way to level up. Then you've got sunk cost. The more time and status they put in, the more committed they become. They're also chasing social status, recognition from their peers inside the system. And finally, you keep them hooked with variable rewards, that little thrill of an unpredictable positive surprise. And this quote really nails it. This isn't about tricking people. The builder is so powerful because they've chosen this path themselves. They've taken the goals you've offered and made them their own. When spending money feels like investing in your own personal progress, well, that's a motivation that no marketing campaign on earth can compete with. Okay, this is the big one, right? This is the million-dollar question. It's great to talk about psychology, but how in the world do you actually turn your everyday customers into these deeply invested builders? How do we solve our proprietor's problem for real? Here's the answer. You stop chasing one-off sales, and you start building an entire ecosystem for your brand. You create a custom gateway. Think of a slick mobile app that doesn't just sell things, but invites your customers into a much deeper, much more engaging world that uses these proven game-like mechanics. And these are the tools of the trade. These are the building blocks for that ecosystem. We're talking about things like completeness meters that just beg to be filled out, digital badges that show off status, offering exclusive privileges that make people feel like VIPs, or even selling speed-up features for a small price. And here's the kicker. You can offer digital rewards for taking real-world actions like visiting your store. That's how you bridge the gap between their phone and your cash register. And if you want a simple way to remember what makes this all work, one of the experts in our sources boiled it all down to the 3 Fs. It needs to give users constant feedback so they know how they're doing. It needs a social angle so they can engage with friends. And, maybe most importantly, it just has to be fun. It can't feel like a chore. So when you pull all of this together, you literally rewrite the entire financial equation for your business. Look at this. The old math was all about fighting quiet erosion and praying for a decent marketing ROI on that leaky foundation. The new math? It's about creating a passive profit stream. It's about guaranteed conversions. That leaky foundation gets replaced by a self-funding asset. And here's the most beautiful part. That constant quiet drain on your profits, it gets completely swallowed up by this new, predictable, and growing stream of pure profit from your builders. All those little investments they make add up, creating a reliable income that finally plugs that leak in the foundation for good. Which brings us to the final question you have to ask yourself. When you shift your focus from chasing one-time customers to creating invested builders, you're doing so much more than just adding a new way to make money. You are fundamentally fixing your business. You're treating all that chaos and uncertainty for the reliable, proven math of long-term investment. So, are you ready to stop paying that quiet, hidden tax on your business every single day?